Paranormal, something which has gripped the hearts of people across the globe. This can be through any genre, through literature, through the dear old stories you hear from your granddad, and from films, TV shows, and also from the games. I am on a quest at the moment, looking at various games that I currently own and play regularly, and I'll be talking to you and telling you what I feel about these games, what I like about them, what I think the drawbacks are, what I think they can improve on, and I'll be giving you an honest answer based on my own opinion as an end user. This is a ghost versus paranormal observation. Starting with this is a ghost. Now you do have some equipment that you can start off with, and we'll be going through that very shortly. At first though, you do start in this little spot, this front page as it were. You can change your name here. Now do bear in mind this game, I'm going to say, is in development, so I should imagine, and I do know that there is certain things that the devs are currently in the process of doing to alter the game and improve it. Now you do have an ability to change your character, but that's not on this screen at the moment, and you will come to that very shortly. You do have a statistics button here, which allows you to see what you have done so far, and you also have a merchant. The merchant itself is actually pretty reasonable, good pricing in terms of what you get, and you can unlock new entities and new maps depending upon what you are spending. Now you can spend money or you can spend medals depending on what you have received throughout your missions. You'll receive both, and that depends as well on what company you're going for, and I'll explain what I mean with that in a moment. There is a tutorial button which is quite extensive, however it is only visual, so you'll be able to click on here, read the information and watch it. You can't physically do it unless you're in-game yourself, which in a way is good, but in a way it's also a little bit of a drawback for my eyes. In a way I prefer to test the equipment, play around and see how I go in a safe environment, but that is just me. Now when you come in, whether it be solo or whether you are coming in as multiplayer, with a lot of ghost games I do highly recommend to come in on multiplayer, because then you've got a little bit of backup. You do have the ability here to change your character and your avatar. There is only a small amount of people that you can choose from, however they're not too bad, they are quite diverse, so that is pretty good as a plus sign in my book. There is 7 different missions that you can go on, or should I say 7 different maps, just for starting, but you can add the 8th later down the line. Now these do vary from the size that they are, whether it be a small location with 1 stairs, or a small location with no stairs. It can also vary in terms of the size, in terms of how many extra stairs you've got, and how difficult it's going to be based on the location. It also gives you a recommended how many people that you have on that mission with you at any given time, and also the likelihood that you're going to find a good or a bad spirit within said location. You also have easy, medium or hard levels, and you also have the ability to change who you are working for. So that ain't too bad. There's 3 different companies or 3 different types that you'll go for, and there is also a training mode which will basically take off a lot of the heat from you if you're starting to learn the game. You have the merchant icon here again, and the tutorial if you wish to, along with this journal, and this journal comes with you with every mission that you have. However, you do have to fill this out by actually seeing specific things. What I mean by seeing, I'll show you very shortly. Once you've seen the information and the evidence, you also have to add in the proof of what you have seen, whether it be voices, drawings, fingerprints, cursed items, and once you do this, it will then eliminate the spirits below, ghost, wraith, spirit, Yuri, or demon at the moment, but there is more coming, so bear with the devs. Like I said, there is more coming, so sit back and enjoy the fun. Now, there is also a behavioural button, which you'll find as well, right at the bottom of the page, just above select entity. Now this is quite an interesting thing. So you've got the lost, you've got the vengeful, and you've got the residual. Now these themselves will give you depend on the type of spirit that you're coming against. In the behavioural buttons you will see exactly what each one represents. However, a B, residual, so souls are trapped in memories of the past, lost between both worlds, they are literally caught, etc. This helps you to identify the spirit in question. So once you get into the game itself, this is what you will see. You will have a vehicle behind you, and this vehicle itself you can use to escape if you wish to. To get out of that one, you just move out of the way. And then from there, you also have the equipment that you can use throughout the game itself. You do have at your disposal a camera. You have which I think is a Beretta pistol, which is a bit odd, I know. You have a rune shield, which you can use. You also have a plasma gun. You have a shotgun. Yes, I know, a shotgun in a game like this. And you also have sensors. You have visual sensors, and you also have this. This is a spray can. Now this spray can itself will put a rune on the floor based on the spirit that you are looking for. Now that depends. You have to go through and get the evidence and select the spirit before you can put down a rune. You have incense as well, and you also have 2 versions of UV lamps that you can use along with dot projector. You do have this, which is a nice little addition. A map which will show you exactly where you are, and you can then plan your next plan of attack. However, it's difficult when you're in the middle of it, pull up that map and have a spirit running after you. Toggling on to the lights, you can have the normal torch up, or you can have the UV light up. Now the UV light does help to find things like fingerprints on walls or items. Now these fingerprints do disappear within a certain period of time, so be warned of that. You do have a set of night vision goggles. Now these night vision goggles are also important because you will be able to find certain items, cursed items with these, which will come up as a silhouette, which you will need to use to try and identify your spirit. Now bringing up the journal, you'll see, like you see here, exactly what you've got in terms of the society that you're at. Also, you'll have information on the house itself, or the location that you are in. Make sure that this is set to the specific location where you are, because at default it will come up as little house. If you go to the mansion, you must change that to mansion. If you are looking for a specific entity itself, you can change it here as well. Missions itself, as you can see, it will come up here with questions that you need to do to get the extra medals. Reach 100% paranormal activity, for example, repel, etc., etc. As for gameplay, this game itself is quite a crisp game to play. I quite like it. You do have this little bit of kit as well. Now it's important to activate this before you start. This measures the activity within the house. As you can see in the bottom left corner, you can see global activity. That machine is going to record the activity that you see in the house. You want to get out to 100% because you can get nice little extra bits of cash and coins or medals depending on what they're going to offer you. So what you want to do is get into the house itself, make sure that you place down certain things which will help you in the mission. Like for example, this sensor, which is very good for you, but you put it in the right spot. Then there's various different places you can put it. Now depending on how big the location is, guess what? You need to really think ahead where you're going to place it. Now there is other little things. You do have the interactivity in terms of opening doors, turning on lights. You also have light bulbs that do flicker and explode on you. And you do have certain cues that which will appear. This, for example, is quite a nice little thing that I like. And what it will do is, it will then tell you exactly how the spirit died. As it's now coming up as asphyxiate. So somebody was strangled to death, or potentially drowned, pillow over their head, etc. Now to get these as evidence as well, you must go up to the items. You have to right click and then take a picture. And every so often you may just hear something behind you. Now, there is various bits of kit, like I said, with this one here, which is a UV lamp. Place it on the floor and it will give you a nice little footprint if that's part of the evidence you were supposed to be looking for. Now, there is a voice function on this, however, the voice function itself is, for all intents and purposes, automated, which is, in my eyes, that could be better. I would prefer it to be more of a vocal from yourself, like in some other games. So that needs to be, that's something that I would say should be looked at. Now, there is this little book that you see here and there, and there's various little things that you can activate, press, touch, and move, but they are specific. Now, once you throw this book on the floor, it should then write in the book, give you drawings or anything around the neighbourhood. Once you put your rune down as well, it will then cause the spirit to get a bit on the angry side and it will try and attack you. You then have to do what you need to do, like shoot the entity with a firearm, and then from there you will need to exercise the spirit based on what the spirit is. Paranormal observation is a rather interesting concept of a game. Now, you do come in here originally with just this, okay? So you've got a play button, you've got a settings button, and you've also got a how to play. And how to play itself is rather limited on what it tells you. It tells you everything, but tells you nothing at the same time. So through reading this itself, you can scroll up, have a good read, and it tells you the tools that you have to your disposal. Now, it may sound very limited, but you'll see why it's limited when we get into the game itself. There is a settings tab as well, which you can change your microphone, so you can speak to the spirit on here, or you can use the in-game voice. It's completely your choice on how you approach this. You do have 5 missions to get you started, and you do have just a basic amateur level to begin with. However, that can change when you improve your levels. Once you get to level 2, it becomes intermediate, level 6 for professional, and nightmarish at the highest level of level 12. You can also buy things which will improve the game itself. There's only 5 things though, I'm afraid, so there's not really that much to really go on. Obviously, if you're going to do it, you might as well just go to more money first of all, and then you're going to make sure that you get the others in quicker succession. So once in the game itself, you do have, just to the right of you, post-it notes that do tell you what you need to do. You also have the ability to hide. Now, the reason why that ability is there is because depending upon your level and how high you're doing it, the spirit that you're looking for can potentially get into the cockpit of where you're sitting. You are basically sitting right in the location, but however, you're in a different room with this rather old computer that you can see. This door is controlled by the power. Now, if the power goes, or if the entity smacks on that door one too many times, a little too hard, then it will open that door. That's when you want to hide. If the power goes, then you want to click on the breaker unit, which is just to your left, and then that should process the data and make sure the door is safe. The door, like I said, can open. Once you've got the screen like this, you can then click on the various different functions at the bottom, such as the evidence tab. Now here is where you tick whichever evidence that you find from your spirit. And once you do that, it does filter down and limits off what spirits could be available to you at that specific moment. You do have the ability to switch the lights on and off. You also have the ability to go into night vision mode and laser mode. So laser mode does help, and also the ultraviolet does help in terms of finding things that are on the ground, such as handprints, footprints, blood, etc. You do have a voice command, like I said, and you can use your own voice itself if you wish to do so. So once you click on them, like I said, all you have to do is when you see your evidence, we've got laser projection already there, click that in. It has thrown some items itself, so click it there, it will tell you now what you've got available to you and what a ghost could be. Now between these two games, I've got to be perfectly honest with you. Out of the two, This Is a Ghost definitely pulls ahead. Paranormal Observation has a very different take on the paranormal side of things. The interactivity of This Is a Ghost is quite good and quite high on the performance. Like I said, I feel that it could improve with time, but it is, once again, a game that is very much in development, and it is a game which the developers are putting more time and effort into. So this is my picks for these two. Now I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one, and like I said before, this is based on my own thoughts, my own opinion, and is not intended to impugn anybody else's thoughts, feelings, or whichever. This is Worco signing off.